What's up, guys? It's your host, Spartanic Arts DXD, back with another high school Deekster related video. And today we have What If Issei Was Betrayed? Part 4. Let's try to hit 400 to 500 likes for this episode. That'd be absolutely amazing. And if you guys don't know exactly when I upload, my upload schedule, click the little blue button right next to the subscribe button, or the first link in the description, or the first link in the comment section, or the first link in the premiere. Thank you so much for all the support that's been going on for this series. It's been doing pretty decent. But please hit the like button if you're in the premiere right now, or if you're even listening to this right now. That'd be so good for me. And thank you so much to my Balance Breakers / Juggernaut Drive members. Thank you so much for becoming a channel member. My Juggernaut Drive members being Ant Lewis, Anthony Lewis, Cool Ninja 12, Dark Phoenix, Lachlan Yates, Ziki 2000 being my Balance Breakers, Ziki 2000, Noga Boga Uga, Zerafall Leviathan, Night Ammo, Scott Clowery, Rob the King, and Native Darkwolf. Thank you so much for becoming a Balance Breakers / Juggernaut Drive member. Seriously, I cannot thank you guys enough. If you don't want to become a Balance Breaker or a Juggernaut Drive member, if you guys want to know exactly when I upload, there's also a $2.99 option, which is just $3, and you can become a Limit Breaker, which is also highly appreciated. I really do thank you guys for becoming members. It helps me out, considering that your boy is broke. So thank you so much for the support, ladies and gentlemen. And without further ado, let's go ahead and thank my Patreon members. I just released What If Issei Was Alone, exclusive content up on there, part 1. It's about I think it's either 17 or 27 minutes long. I'm not exactly sure, but shout out to my Patreon members: Smells Noise, Lachlan Yates, Godkiller, Elton, Mark Bacon, J Truly 2, and Logan Kohar. Thank you so much for becoming a Patreon member. Seriously, I cannot thank you guys enough, man. It's great. So I don't have anything else to say. Without further intrusion, let's go ahead and start What If Issei Was Betrayed? Part 4. Chapter 6. What are you doing here, Grafia? Calmly sitting up at his bed, keeping his glare on her. He noticed something else. She was not dressed in her usual maid outfit, but her normal outfit one consisted of a black shirt with golden caramel accents at the edges of the shirt and spread horizontally near the bottom, with the 2 light golden trims going down the shirt, and the shirt nearly splits above her stomach, exposing her midriff. Around her neck and her shoulders is a long cyan scarf made from light material reaches her hips. Her jeans were blue with white outline at the top. I came to see you. May I? Grafia said, gesturing to sit on the bed. No, Issei replied. She did not listen, as she probably walked over and sat down on the bed. Unfortunately for Issei, the spot where she was sat right on his legs. Hey, Issei said. No, get off. Why even bother asking if you're going to sit down anyways? Issei said, agitated that she did not listen to him and invaded his space. I was being courteous, Grafia replies, looking at him, not caring that she sat on his legs. Courteous? No one courteous would sit on another person's leg, at least get off, so I moved them, Issei says. Very well, Grafia said as she stood up and waited for Issei to move his legs. Once he did, she sat back down in the same spot. Better? Yes, mumbling his response as he kept as closer to the board to be as far away as he can, but he still heard him, thanks to her devil hearing. That's good, Grafia said, giving him a small smile. You know that I believe this is the first time that we've argued like siblings. We're not siblings, Issei replied, causing a frown to form back on her face. I should have known that you'd be upset, but may I ask how you're feeling? I was fine till you got here, Issei replied, looking away from her. So what are you doing anyways? You off duty or something? You could say that. Right now we're having some time outring at the moment, Grafia says. And wouldn't they track you here? I don't want to deal with them. And you being here puts my wretch in my plans. Tell me, Issei. It's Hyodo to you, Issei replies, causing her to narrow her eyes at him. Issei rolled his eyes at her stubbornness. How do you feel about everything that has happened, and be honest with me? Well, I've been better these past few days. Enjoyed my time with people that I actually care about me and appreciate me for what I've done. And they don't see me as a toy, Issei replied. I do not see you as a toy, Grafia replied. Your clan says otherwise, but it made me thinking. There are people that come with an expiration date, Issei says. Expiration date? Grafia replies. Yes, there are people in our lives that come with an expiration date. Everyone's not meant to be in your life forever. I did not think of that before. You know what she told me? After she had revived me, she said the Red Dragon Emperor and the Crimson Princess together forever. I was a fool to believe that, as you can see, we are not together. I could see that Any indication, pointing to the pawn pieces that had left on the desk. Yeah, I'm pretty much free. I suppose you won't tell me where you're going, Graphius says. No, Issei replied. Then can you at least tell me when you are leaving, so Milicus and I can see you off, Graphius says. Milicus, Issei replied. He sees you as a big brother. He's covering for me at the moment. I talked to him about what would happen, since I could not find you after the party. I saw you glaring at my stupid husband, and you have every reason to. I should have done something, but I didn't want to cause a scene. I see. He was lost in thought until he felt the bed shift, seeing that Grafia moved closer to him. You didn't answer my question. Her face maintained her usual stoic procession. I'd be leaving by the end of this week, Issei says. I see, Grafia replied. She stood up and walked towards him, bending down to his level. I'm sorry for what they did to you, but wherever you go, just remember that your Nissan is here, okay? Grafia says, staring into her red eyes. Issei was memorized at how much she cared for him, despite the damage that her laws had done to him. I understand. Thank you, Nissan, looking down at his lap. Isn't that better? Grafia replies. He gave me the smirk forming on her face. Better than saying my name, Issei? Issei frowned, but it did feel nice to her big sister. It felt more natural. It did make him ponder about the siblings that died from his miscarriages his parents had before he was born. Would they have been like Grafia? He would never know, but he was grateful that he had someone to look up to. Now, Milicus and I will be here to see you off for when you go, and I'll be taking these, walking over to the desk to pick up the pawn pieces. Wait, I don't want them to know that I have left the clan, Issei says. I am not taking them to Rias, which surprised Issei as normally, as she called Rias Ojo-sama. I am taking them to Ajuka-sama. He is also on your side, and when they try to track you, they'll look more into the underworld than the human world for you. Since Ajuka-sama is the creator of these pieces, he can manipulate the energy signature to be emitting from in there. Oh, I didn't think of that, Issei said. Judging from your expression, you did not think of that, did you? Grafia replies. No, Issei said, frowned, embarrassed by his lack of tact about evil pieces. It's alright. It's what older siblings are here. Walking back towards him, take care of yourself, Issei. Give him a kiss on the forehead before walking away and activating a magic circle to take to the Beelzebub territory. She waved goodbye to him as he did the same. He felt a bit of relief to know that not all of the family turned his back on him. He laid back on the bed and let out a sigh. Well, that was something, Drake said. Yeah, I'm kind of glad she came to see me. At first, I felt anger, because she was related to them, but it's like what I felt with the factions. I shouldn't judge them all the same because of a few bad eggs. Indeed. So what's the plan for today? Drake says. The same as it's been for the past few days. Wake up, train, eat, hunt down some renegades, and then shower and then sleep. Since I'm awake, I better train. He activated a communication circle to get Sanji to come over. Hey, what's up, Issei? I was wondering if you can come over to train. Only for a few days left here. I'm trying to make the best of it. Sorry, dude. Doesn't work for me today. I see. Well, any more renegades for me to handle? Nope, you seem to handle them for the most part in the past couple of days. Alright, thanks. Take care. You too. Issei disconnected the communication circle call. He went to his phone and realized that no one called him, which is a bit pleased, also a little angry about it. They only call me to fix their problems. Not one of them bothered to see me since the party, or ask how I was doing. He began to block the numbers of the former colleagues because if they didn't care about him, he shouldn't care about them. To further make sure that they didn't bother him, he went as far to go on social media to block them and even deactivate his DeviTube account. After that was handled, he went down to the training room to train his accuracy. Ever since he killed those renegade fallen angels with fire, he wanted to be able to use it in ranged combat, since he was only used to it in close combat. He went to a training room where he could set up the targets and keep score of how well he did in the program. He kept the targets stationary when they popped up. Once everything was set up, he lit his hands aflame and yelled for a program to begin. The targets started popping up. The first one appeared to his left, and he turned and fired a fireball in that direction. Another came to his left. He fired another one. He was still aware of the right-hand side. His instincts were calm. Those were due to his targets being stationary from the behind. A target appeared. Using his right hand, another fireball hits its mark. The target continued to appear left, right, front, right, left, back, and final target came from to the front. In the process, he involved his reaction time on firing the targets, but at the same time, he felt a little bored. Because the targets did not fight back, he went to control room to update the settings of the program and decided to incorporate a mock utilizing random renegade demons and fallen angels. He set the target count at 15 to start off. With the settings updated, he went back into the room and voice-activated the program. Something that he liked about this room is that it wasn't incorporated by Sekivara and not the Gremory, so when he left the house, Sekivara could deconstruct it and probably install it in his house in Tokyo so he could stay sharp with his skills. The first target was Renegade Demon that came from his right. It fired a magic attack, which Issei rolled to his left and fired a fireball at the demon, before having a duck from a light spear that came from a Renegade Fallen Angel and spawned behind him. He instantly turned and fired at it, turned back to his right, fired at another Fallen Angel that spawned. He turned around and fired at the Renegade Demon as well. He took note that spawning Fallen Angels had attacked faster than demons, which was due to Fallen Angels spawning with light spears already formed, so he decided to let the demons have, but his instincts were improving if he could strike them before, and fired its attack. Then he jumped back as Fallen Angel spawned behind the demon and fired its light spear in the air. He fired 2 more fireballs, taking down 5 and 6. Enemies 5 and 6. A little more than a third of the way finished, he decided to wait a little longer before enemies to spawn, so he stuck to his dodging attacks from left, the right, and 2 from the front. More enemies as he fired the enemies that had spawned, bringing his total to 10 enemies taken down. He waited for the final 5 enemies to spawn, dodging attacks from the left and right. He even let a few enemies get close, so to dodge the physical attacks, but he couldn't use any close combat moves because the training was meant for his ranged combat, so he kept the distance from the paired enemy blows, but not enough to damage them too. It's another thing that he liked how Sekivara designed the room, as enemies were lifelike. He could take damage from them, dodging and weaving between the enemies, fighting his fireballs and right and killing the remaining enemies. His speed was adequate, but he got faster, same with his dodging. It improved as well. His precision got better, and he aimed at each enemy, and his reaction time coupled with his instincts improved his reflexes after spawning each enemy. His stamina also improved. His quick fire only got better too. Guess that's okay for today, Issei says, as he exited the training room to go shower. Once he cleaned himself off, he decided to go to get lunch, seeing no point in doing much as Sanji told him that there weren't any renegades around. He still went out to patrol, taking this moment to improve his sensory abilities and scout for any enemies. Whether it was fortunate or not, he found no presence of potential enemies. After that, he continued his training that Rainier told him about blending in his aura, so he would seem human. He lowered his power and focused on shrinking it to be distinguished as a human. Not bad, you're getting there. I think you only the Nekomata would be able to spot you, Rainier said. She spotted you, didn't she? Issei said, I guess you're right about that. But then again, I did expose myself. I should have been more aware of those who are around. That's on me, Rainier said. Finishing his patrol, Issei decided to head back to the mansion. He couldn't call it home because it was where he was staying for the time. On his way back, his phone, and seeing it was his mom, he answered. Hello? Issei, dear, how have you been doing? I'm fine, Kasan. How's the new place treating you guys? It's been well. Not as spacious as a large mansion, which I'm glad. I honestly have no idea what we'd do with all that space. Well, it's the Gremory's problem now, Miki said. That's good to hear. Nice to hear that you're enjoying yourself, Issei replied. Oh, Issei, are you coming home by any chance? Or back on a mission, I should say? No, I'm not back, but I'm walking there now. Figured I enjoy the scenery. I was patrolling for renegades, helping Sona out. It's the least I could do, since they are helping us, you know? No reason, just wanted to make sure you were safe, that's all. Issei felt like he could see the smile forming from his mother's face, and it gave him a bad feeling, wondering what she had planned. Well, I'm going to grab something for dinner. As he was seeing the takeout restaurant that he ordered from when he spent time with Rosvisa. Take care, dear. Love you, Miki said. Love you too, Kasan. Hanging up for the restaurant to go grab takeout to eat. When he got back, upon receiving his food, he carried on his way, taking in the sights until he reached the mansion. Just a few more days, looking at the mansion, but rather going inside, he decided to walk around the huge mansion as he never had seen the rest of the exterior. He didn't care if his feet got cold, he just wanted to see the rest of the place where he lived for the past 8 months or so. He figured that he could just warm it up again. Lost in thoughts, as the minutes went by, he walked along the right side of the mansion, reaching that would have been the backyard of the mansion and carrying on to the other side. However, he walked, his foot kicked something. Huh? That's weird. I thought the lawn is usually taken care of. Walking over to what he kicked, he saw a face. This was not just any face. This was Rias's face. Wait a minute. Looking back from he kicked, he saw the shattered remains of a statue that he built for Rias. But from the looks of it, It was not damaged by the kick, but from the fall. I didn't throw this, as he looked up, figuring that someone was in the house recently, or at least when he went to consider his room. Issei headed to the front door and entered the mansion. Seeing that there was no damage from a break-in, he got curious about what it could be. Before he decided that a supernatural being must have teleported into the house, he did not care if things got stolen from other girls, the exception being Irina as the other two. Ravel and Rosvisa had collected their things already, though his things were still here, and the broken statue outside means that they went to his room. He set his food in the fridge and walked up the stairs slowly to not alert the person or people if they were still here. He was using his senses and couldn't detect anyone, so he felt that this person was very good at stealth. Before heading into his room, he went to check on Irina's things. Upon entering her room, she still had some things, but there was still a holy presence in the room, so he knew that powerful angel had brought Irina back to pack. Mr. Again, closing her door, and then as she prepared to head to his room, he felt it. There was a barrier around, indicating that someone was still in there. He was tempted to just shoot a dragon shot, but he had things that he didn't want it to be destroyed, so he backed away from the door, thinking that the enemy already left his presence and was expecting him to charge in recklessly like he would have done. Drake, activate the penetrate ability to my eyes. Let's see what we're dealing with, Hill. You got it, partner. Penetrate! As the ability activated in his eyes, Issei could see beyond the door and past the barrier. He didn't see any enemies as he scanned the room. He kept looking for something out of place, but nothing. He deactivated the ability and cautiously went to the door, opening it slowly, preparing himself for an attack, but nothing came. But he felt a familiar presence. Looking towards the bed, he saw a lump, the sheet steadily rising and falling. He crept over. And not believing, as it was throughout the week, the two had been missing each other every time he went out. She could have come when he returned. She would be gone, but not this time, because resting in his bed, with her hair down, was his childhood friend, Irina Shoto. With a sigh of relief, he let her sleep, closing the door, going back downstairs with a small smile on his face. You look happy, Drake says. I am. Glad to know that she's okay in here, so I can tell her goodbye when the time comes. I feel like there's something more. You care about them more and don't want to see them hurt. Let's just hope she is understanding as the other two, Drake says. I'm sure she will understand. She's known me the longest, so she would know me the best. Oh, I wonder how she felt when she came back for the first time and found out you were a pervert, Drake says. This comment made Issei blush with embarrassment. He remembered how he was back then, and he was too busy checking on her body, and he did not forcefully strip in their mock fight. Although he did see her naked, it was mainly because of the other girls, and she just followed their lead. But at least she overlooked his perversion and saw the rest of him for who he was on a deeper level, and not just surface level. Hold on 1 second. Okay, sorry. I had to blow my nose. You know what I'm saying? Continuing on. This comment made Issei blush with embarrassment. Oh wait, I already read this. Yeah, but things have changed. I'm not that guy anymore, Issei replied. Damn straight. Now I'll leave you be. You guys are well within your emotions. You kept your cool with that maid this morning, Drake said. Yeah, it's like I said, I cannot judge all of them based off a few people that I could see the concern in her eyes. Plus, it feels awesome to have a badass older sister, even if she dresses like a maid. Ha! I guess you're right. Go and eat your food and sleep with your mate, Drake says. The blush came back again full force because of the word mate, implying that Irina was his lifelong partner. She's not my mate, Issei replies. Then why are you envisioning marrying her? Making babies with her? Seeing little brunettes running around your house? You forget that I could see what you're thinking, right? Although you don't speak about your perversions, you definitely still have a lewd mind, but it's to be expected. You're a young man that's still growing, Drake says. Yeah, there's still a lot more for me to learn. Agreed, Drake says, going back to rest again. Issei followed Drake's advice and went to the kitchen and heated his food. He went back to his room, but he figured not to disturb the angel in his bed, so he ate in the living room, watching the news, since he didn't think of anything else interesting happening in Ko, so he blanked out. After finishing his dinner, he decided to head down to the training room. He sat down in the training room, giving himself some time to digest his food, but also to meditate. He was thinking about his life in Tokyo and how he would recover months of his life back. He knew that he may not fully escape the supernatural world completely due to being a complete humanoid dragon, and the people he cared about were attached to it. He was taking a break from them to continue his life and not be a slave to someone that would lie to him. Thinking about your life without the redhead, huh? Rainier says. Yeah, it looks better from my point of view. You'll see, Rainier says. Issei said. You better do your training and then get some rest. You're being quiet, solemn today. Issei says, I got some things on my mind. Rainier says, shrugging her shoulders. Huh? Didn't think someone who's dead could ponder about things. Perhaps regrets from when you were alive? Maybe, maybe not. You'll figure out one day. Enjoy your training, Rainier says. Issei could only think of what she meant before starting the training process of dodging enemies and launching long-ranged attacks. He did amp it up, so the enemies range between mid to high-class fallen angels and demons. The result of the training kept his body toned, but due to his intensity of the spawning enemies, his clothes got ripped and he was covered in sweat. That was a good workout. Definitely worked off some calories to take out. I better go shower. Leaving the training room, he headed back to his room, entering quietly and checking if Irina was still asleep, which she was. Confused Issei a little. Based on the time differences, he figured that she would be up, since when it was evening in Japan, it was afternoon in England. It made Issei think that she may not have been sleeping well. If she was still asleep, considering how she remembered that Rospisa could not sleep because of her emotions, he deduced that it was probably the same for Irina. He headed to the bathroom and activated a noise-canceling seal that he learned from Rospisa gave him. He did not want the shower to disturb Irina from her sleep. He cleaned himself off in the sweat and accumulated from his training and enjoyed the cold water ran down on him. Finishing the shower, he prepared himself for bed. Wearing a tank top and boxers, he crept into the other side of the bed and got slowly. He did not want to disturb the girl on the other side. She seemed content. Finally getting comfortable in bed, he closed his eyes and went to sleep. As he was sleeping, though, he felt someone cuddle up to him, and he wasn't going to complain. It felt nice. The night rolled on to the morning. Issei wasn't sure how long he slept, but he was in for a rude awakening. He felt a tap to the cheek and a scream of pain that made him wake up. Looking towards the source, he saw Irina holding her hand, wincing, and then he remembered Orpheus said about his body. It can be as hard as great red scales. Irina, are you alright? Issei says. He tried to get close to her, but she backed away. Who are you? Irina says. Her tone was a bit hostile. It's me, Issei. A bit confused since he sent Irina pictures of his clothes outing. You know it's me. I sent you pictures. You did? Irina says. Her glare softened as she was confused. Yeah, through your phone, but you never responded back. He was slightly sad that she never responded. My phone? As she pondered about it. Then her face lit up. Oh no! My phone! I gave it to Grishilda-sama when she came to bring my family's home after the party. Hey, it's okay. He tried to get close to her again, but she backed away still. I still don't know who you are, though. All the times that I came here, I never saw Issei-kun. You're probably one of the boyfriends, and you have the audacity to come in this room? Ah, Irina says. Just before she can go on a rant, Issei tackled her and pinned her to the ground, to the bed. He was careful of hurting her and held her gently. He noticed how much skin she was showing, wearing jean shorts, and went down to a third thigh, and she wasn't wearing a shirt, so it let her dark purple bra exposed. If there was any other scenario, I definitely would have enjoyed the feeling of her body on this. Look, you used to dress up as a boy when we were kids, and honestly, I should have known that you were a girl because no boy would appreciate the playing the wife role when we played house in the same place before Grandma renovated the place. That doesn't... Pausing as Issei removed his left arm and activated the boosted gear. Hello, reincarnated angel. The young man straddling before you is Issei. He got a new body from the dragon gods, hence why he looks different, but he's still your childhood love. The comment caused Irina to blush heavily at Issei being called her childhood love and realizing that Issei was indeed straggling her. Now do you believe me? I guess, but why do you have a new body? Irina says. To get the pieces out. Remember I was still her pawn that during the night? During the party, Great Red contacted me to free me from my shackles, so I left, talking to my parents about the situation, and then went to the dragon gods to get a new body. My old one was decomposed back into Great Red, Orpheus, and was extract the pieces from old body, so they wouldn't be able to track me. Of course, I looked different from because they had time to construct the body because last time I was dying from Samil's poison. See, she looked away and remained quiet. As for my hand, my skin is as tough as Great Red's scales. However, he grabbed her non-injured hand and rubbed it against his arm. It feels like a human skin, but since my defense is so high, it's why you're injured your hand. I'm sorry. It's fine. I just jumped to conclusions, Irina said. No, it's not. Getting off her. Come on, let's go get you some ice, pulling her gently off the bed. Wait, I need to grab my shirt. Your parents are gone. They left for our new place. New place, Irina says? Yes. Now come on. Let's get your hand looked at. Taking his right arm and wrapping it around her waist, while taking his left hand and massaging her injured hand, and they walked out of the room and headed downstairs. But Issei noticed something about Irina. She seemed so down. She hasn't smiled. Guess you were heard about me, Issei says. The two entered the kitchen, and Issei sat Irina down at the chair and went to get something to help alleviate the pain. First, checking the freezer from a bag of frozen food to help cool the pain. Then he looked for some ibuprofen and a glass of water to the drink. While he found out that he needed, he gave them to her and watched her diligently, which she noticed. You don't have to watch me, you know, Irina says. I do, Issei replied as he kept staring. Huh? Irina said. You're not my Irina. My Irina always smiles. She has a smile that lights up the world. What happened to her? Issei says. Irina's eyes widen a little before as she looked back down towards the frozen bags of peas on her hand. That party happened, Irina said. Yeah, I guess it did. But at least we're together, right? Offering a smile towards her. She didn't do anything but stare down and frown. How can you be so happy, Irina says. Because I've been with the people that appreciate me, and it makes me happy, like right now. Writing a blush on the angel's face, removing the peas from her hand. She did what he asked and set the peas down at the table. Then he asked to give her the injured hand. He gently grabbed her wrist and slowly began to massage the hand. She winced every now and then, but slowly those hisses of pain turned to hums of content and signs of relief. Feeling better? Yeah, Irina said. So you've not been sleeping well lately. His eyes flashed with a concern and worry. I only asked because you were sleeping for a long time, and I know the time zones are different between London and Japan. Is it because of what happened? I asked this because the same thing that happened with Rose-chan. Rose? Irina said. Ah, sorry, it's my nickname for Ross Visa. She came by along with Ravel-chan in her parade, Shikiberi and her queen, Olivia and Kiba, who wanted to apologize, and I told him not to worry about his relationship with Tsubaki and not letting guilt tear them apart. They should be happy. They're also the ones who helped move our things out of here. Really? Then why are you still here? Irina says, looking at him quizzically. Well, I pack a bit slow, and I was waiting for you to show up. I didn't want to leave without saying goodbye to my real friends. But let me give you a rundown of what I was going through. During the battle against the Trihexa, it brought me into a different plane of reality in my mind for a moment. It told me that I shouldn't trust anyone because the greatest pain comes from what I would try to protect the most. Irina's eyes widened a little as she could see where he was heading, but she was also worried that Issei may not trust her. I kept trying to figure out what that meant until I looked from the balcony that I was on and saw her making out with that bastard. I heard what she said, too. She sounded like she did when she was engaged to Riser, when she was the one that forced me to take on the trials of connection with her and even be her fiancé in the first place. I then heard about the other said, and thank you, Irina, for loving all of me, not just parts of me, giving her a smile that made her blush and look away again. You're welcome, and she couldn't deny that she didn't love him because she did. And you were right. Love is about overlooking one's flaws. I did that with Gremory in her spoiled attitude. I did it with the fallen angel defect and her Necomata counterpart. I did it with that useless nun, and unfortunately your heirdhood of a former partner. That comment made Irina frown a little. Please don't insult them, Irina says. Sorry, Iri-chan, it just makes me frustrated remembering that night, but at the same time it was a blessing in disguise. He still continued to massage her hand. How so? Irina said. I knew who appreciated me and who didn't. When I was leaving that place, I heard Azazel saying how I was losing the people because of my perverted attitude. Same thing they were complaining about, but refused to talk to me about. The entire time that I was with them, I never asked them to do anything perverted. They all did it on their own. I did not ask Grimry to sleep naked next to me, or even sleep with me for that matter. They only instigated my attitude, likely to keep me under control, to be used as their weapon in their gesture. But I didn't use you like that, Irina says. I know. You've only followed because you were fighting for a spot in my heart. You don't need to fight. You'll always be a part of me wherever I go, Iri-chan. Anyway, so as I left, whether or not he heard me, I proclaimed that they shouldn't ever ask for my help again. Then, it may be petty, but it's the truth. No point in helping someone that doesn't appreciate me, but over time, I thought that I shouldn't damn a faction because of a few people. So I'll be neutral for now, Issei says. The angels appreciate you. Michael-sama appreciates you, Irina says. I know. If they didn't and acted like everyone else, they would have fallen. And there would be no more faction of angels. Azazel already stated that the only person who could prevent an angel from falling is the biblical God. Michael does not have the good of control of the system as his father, but he can make tweaks here and there. But ultimately, you guys stick to your faith. Is why we still have angels today. Irina hit a sigh of relief, knowing that Issei did not fully hate her faction, and knew that they appreciated him for his efforts. Well, fast forward, got a text from Rival-chan about the situation. She gave me my money, then I left. Forgot to say that came back and talked to my parents, then got a text from Sona about my transcripts so I can continue with my studies elsewhere, which I understood because Gremory would try to treat me like a property and flaunt their new relationship, so I didn't have to be there for that. I got a new body. We've been packing up. Sona's Parage, along with Sikiviria and Olivian, came by and helped out. We got a new place, thanks to my dad and his talk with the Lord Agrias during one of my parents' vacations. Over the course of a week, I hung out with Rose and Ravel and others. They will be here at the end of the week to see me off. I was waiting for you to appear because I would feel your presence, but I would just miss you because I was out hunting renegades for Sona in appreciation for what she has done for my family. Did some training along with that, and you were in my bed. Didn't want to disturb you, and went to sleep. Felt something to cuddle up to me, and then I guess you tried to slap me awake, and here we are now. Irina blushed again because she had woken up next to him, and she subconsciously cuddled up to him and had the best sleep since the party ended. So you've been waiting for me, Irina said. Of course, you defended me. You cared about me. So yeah, I wanted to see you before I left. Pretty sure anyone that I cared about is leaving this house. Rosvisa took her things, and she was likely switching parages. Ravel came back and took her things. She had Riser and his parage helping her. I guess that they could also help Sona and my parents, as well as I came back from the night and note from my mom, saying that they were getting settled in the new place. So, what's my mother raving about on the phone? Remembering her mother was talking with someone on the phone about a new place settling into it, Irina said. Oh yeah, our moms were close, huh? How's she doing, by the way? Issei asked. She's fine. She runs a Japanese restaurant there and getting English people accustomed to the Japanese cuisine, Irina says. Cool. Then he remembered something. Hey, since you were in my room, do you know about the broken statue that I found inside? I kind of threw that out the window. I was mad I trusted her and she told with your heart like that and didn't want to see her face. Sorry, I went in uninvited. I came in with Gabriel and Griselda-sama and they were helping me pack. I just went to your room, hoping I could see you, but you weren't there. I felt sad and I saw the statue and realized that it was her fault that you left. So I threw it out and fell asleep on the bed. I guess Gabriel-sama and Griselda-sama left me so I could see you. They are better at recognizing auras than me, so they probably knew you were still here. Are you leaving? Where are you going? Irina says. We're going to Tokyo. What's wrong? As he saw her frown, I would have gone with you if I had known that, Irina says. Irina, I need to regroup. I would love to take you guys with me, but you're too close to them. You weren't mad that I insulted the girls. You were mad that I insulted Zenobia. You still care for her. Maybe down the line you still could talk again. Right now I need space, but I wanted to spend my final moments here with you, at least leave the place with good memories. I kind of expected that, Irina said. My mom said that if you love something, you have to let it go. If it comes back to you, it was meant to be. If not, then it wasn't. How many times have you let go? First it was when we were kids. Then I couldn't get a chance to say goodbye after Cocaville incident. I didn't even see you off to check on you after found you injured. I'm sorry about that. I was too focused on the people who never loved me, Issei said. It's okay, Issei. Using the other hand to pat his head, that's still under a sore hand. Since we are together now, we can enjoy these moments. You said that Gabriel and Griselda are helping you pack, right? Right, Irina said, wondering where he was going with this. Let's go out. I don't want you to be cooped up in this place. Well, I would, since it's with you. Had you not woken me up, frankly, I would have enjoyed being in bed with you. He stopped rambling to realize that didn't sound right. Not like cuddling and just talking things, not like sex, blushing away and looking embarrassed. Irina just stared wide-eyed at him, as she had a huge blush on her face, but for some reason she didn't mind what he said. Seeing him embarrass himself a little caused to close her mouth and smile and then laugh at his embarrassment. Ha Irina says. Hearing her laugh, Issei just stared, and she was smiling, and Issei felt relieved. So, are you okay, Issei says. Yeah, a little. Thank you for that, Irina says. That's good. I guess we better make the most of these last few days together, Issei said. I guess so. But I should be rather we should both be looking for their attires. Irina says, why? I mean, you look amazing. Checking out her body was on display. Issei, sorry. You're so beautiful, I couldn't resist. Ugh, thanks. Anyway, I'm going to freshen up and get my shirt. Then I guess we can go out. Moving her hands away from getting up into the bag of the stern, Issei watched her go. The sway of her head's the movement of her butt. I could see what Volley meant about what lies below a woman's Lucky's lips. It's not like you're going to or anything, making her appearance known, Rainier said. Maybe not, but let me enjoy your presence, please. Fine, but don't forget your training, otherwise they'll find you. Yeah, but you have to admit that I've gotten better. I guess so. Have fun, Rainier says. Issei let out a sigh, leaned back in the chair, closed his eyes, and pondered about what to do with Irina. He went out with Rosvisa, had dinner with Ravel, so maybe he could make a meal with Irina. Meal could be special meal. Before they went out their separate ways, he remembered that his phone was upstairs in his room, so he got from the chair up the stairs. He quickly knocked from Irina's privacy, but no response. Heading into the room, he heard the shower running, so he deduced that she was there. He quickly found his phone, but also grabbed a change of clothes so that he didn't disturb Irina. Since while searching, he saw her clothes on the bed, implying that she may be naked in there without a change of clothes. Not letting his perverted side come out, he quickly left, and he knew that he needed to get better with his urges. You're still young, so it's common that young dragons have a hard time controlling their urges. That's why you're acting like this, Drake said. Really? Issei replied. Yes, it just amplified your perverted side. Remember the night with the Valkyrie? You were able to keep yourself in check then, so you'll be fine with the angel, Drake says. Okay, I better go. Leaving the room because he didn't want to perv on Irina. He went onto the room and his parents both slept in to wash his face and change clothes. When he finished up, he got his phone to find something simple for them to make, but also look for a movie for them to watch to pass the time before getting groceries. Issei, Irina said he heard him calling for him. In here, Issei said, calling out to her as he left the door open so she would know which room he was in and could hear him. Irina walked in wearing those same jean shorts, but now wore a little white shirt that seemed to have a very light blue flower design on it, and her hair in a ponytail. Wow, Irina, you look amazing, Issei says. He was wearing khaki shorts and a black t-shirt. What are you doing? Irina says, walking over to sit down next to him. I was looking for a movie for us to go and pass the time, and then head to the market for some ingredients. There's something I'd like to try. Okay, Irina says. And she wasn't sure that Issei was, but rolled with it. She wasn't sure about Issei's plan, but rolled with it. The two left the house, but before that, Issei checked to see what ingredients he had and what they would need to make dinner, then made the notes of the ingredients on his phone and checked off the ones they had. While Irina waited at the door, they simply enjoyed each other's company, looking like a couple with Irina's arm wrapped around his as they walked to the local movie theater. After the movie, Issei took Irina to the market. First thing he did was grab a beef flank, and then he would grab some soy sauce, oyster sauce, Chinese cooking wine, and some garlic and onion. With the ingredients that he needed, they went back to the mansion. So, what's the ingredients? Irina said. We're going to cook. I know that, but why? Irina says. I want to do something special with you. Make a meal together that would be like our meal, like you know how we newlywed couple or people together a long time. They dance a song or two. Is it dubbed as their song? She nodded. Well, this will be our meal, since so whenever we are apart together, when we see this, we can be reminded of each other. I see, Irina says, as she watched this at the ingredients they bought on the table. Could you grab the skillet and also a medium-sized bowl, please? As he grabbed the cutting board. Irina did as he asked, and then he asked for the soy sauce, honey sauce, black pepper, the cooking wine, and water, and he went to prepare some jasmine rice. While Irina was getting the sauce and ingredients, Issei got the rice in the next rice cooker and went for the other ingredients to the peanut oil, a garlic clove, the onion, and the beef flank. Okay, I got the rice. What do you need? Issei said, but was interrupted. You seem to have the recipe memorized. You just give me your phone for the instructions. Holding out her hand, she figured Issei wouldn't tell her what they were making, plus she couldn't search it up as she didn't have her phone. Alright, Issei says. He opened up in the recipe and handed his phone to Irina, but he had it in a way that would only show the directions, which is what she needed more than the title of what was being made. Issei began to cut the onion quickly, as he heard how many onions someone cry when cutting them. Thank God it was a small onion, Issei said. Moving to the crushing the garlic above. Amen, Irina said. Hearing him praise the Lord, it lifted her spirits as she had mixed up 1/2 a tablespoon of soy sauce and 3 tablespoons of honey and 1.5 tablespoons of oyster sauce, 1.5 tablespoons of Chinese cooking wine, and 2 tablespoons of water, and 1 tablespoon of crushed black pepper. She whisked up the sauce ingredients and directions dedicated to which Issei dictated while Issei cleaned the knife and prepared the cut beef into the thin slices, but not all of it. Only about 2 pounds of thinly sliced beef, 1 pound for each of them. If you're done with the sauce, could you heat up the skillet? As he continued cutting the beef. Got it. Don't worry. I know how much oil to put in. setting the heat to very high and let it heat up. You know this is fun. Walking over to him and collect the crushed garlic and slice onion. Really? Issei said, stopping his cutting to look at her. Yeah, just don't make this with another girl while you're in Tokyo. It's our meal, Irina says. I wouldn't dream of it, Issei replied. Similar to what he did with Ravel, took the initiative, leaning in to kiss her, but she seemed surprised at first, but then reciprocated. It only lasted a few seconds before she pulled away. Issei, she took her hand and placed it on his chest, listening to his heartbeat, feeling it, and then she shook his hand and brought it to her left breast, her own heartbeat. Breathe and listen. Issei calmed down, which calmed his heart pace, and listened to the sound of Irina's heartbeat, feeling it, while trying not to grope her his breast. With his own heartbeat, it was almost like the two hearts were beating in sync. I know that I will have to let you go, and you probably will make a girl happy in Tokyo or whatever. Just remember that I will always love you, and thank you for coming into my life all those years, Irina said. Listening to how Irina said that, he felt happy. He felt her heartbeat didn't change, showing that she was being genuine in her confession. Irina, you will always be a part of me in my journey. We may be apart, but I will always cherish you. I'm going to get a refresher on things, but it won't mean I'll forget you or anyone else that cared about me. I love you, too, and thank you for loving me. It made Irina smile as she could feel his heartbeat as well, knowing that he was genuine as well. You're welcome, Irina said, smiling at him, the smile he wanted to see that could light up the world. Irina? Seeing that she was going out of her own. Yes, the skillet, removing his hand from her breast and pointing to the smoking pot on the stove. Good call. She let go of him to attend the burning skillet. Luckily, nothing was burnt, but smoking signaled then it was heated. So she applied 1/2 cups a tablespoon of peanut oil and then added the onion and garlic. Issei came over and added the beef a minute later. They let the beef cook for a minute, and Irina grabbed the 2 plates for Issei to remove the beef and the onion from the skillet onto the 2 plates. She came back over with the sauce bowl, and she had mixed up earlier as she reduced the heat to medium. Irina poured the sauce into the skillet. They waited for the sauce to syrupy as they heard the rice cooker go off, indicating the rice was done. Irina went over with the plates and dished the rice into each of them. However, she kept the beef onion separated from the rice. Issei took the beef and onion placed back into the skillet. She let the sauce marinate all over a few minutes before he dished it, and then the plates of rice Irina had. You never told me what we were making, as she grabbed her plate and walked off to the dining table. It's Chinese honey pepper beef. Sorry if it was too simple, Issei says. I like it, Irina replied. Huh? Issei said. I said I like it, Irina replies. That's good, setting his food down and grabbing the 2 bottles of water from the fridge. But you haven't tasted it yet, Issei said. I know, but I like it because I made it with you. We never did anything like this together, so I'm glad I could do this with you. As Issei sat down at the table with her, giving him a smile. Issei smiled back. The 2 grabbed his hands and Irina led them in prayer. Since Issei was no longer a demon, he could enjoy it as its grace. They ate their food, and it was not as bad for the first-timers, but like she said earlier, because they could do this together made it worthwhile. After dinner, they cleaned up with the kitchen and utensils and what they used while they digested. Hey, Irina, come train with me, Issei said. Huh? Irina replied. Come train with me. You haven't been training because you were so down, right? So train with me. Sekiveru hooked me up with this awesome simulator. It will allow us to take on real-life enemies. I use it to improve my fire techniques. You can use it to improve your light magic. Don't get me wrong, it may seem like peace, but there's still some renegades out there. Gotta keep on our toes. Irina replied, please, I want you to get stronger while I'm away, so please train with me. Let's get stronger together now, so we can be prepared for whatever comes our way, Issei said. Alright, I'll train with you, and I'll continue to getting stronger. I promise you that. But 1 second, as she took off her shirt, leaving her in her bra and shorts. Sorry, I don't have my battle suit since I don't have a shirt and dirty with riddled with sweat. Irina says, yeah, Issei replied, surprised by how bold she was. Usually Irina was a bit more conservative, so this was new. You know what? I'll join you taking off your shirt, leaving him topless. Let's go. The 2 headed to the training room downstairs, and Issei set up the 2 enemies to be low-leveled. Irina spread her angel wings and flew upward and prepared the 2 light rings. Alright, it's only going to be 5 enemies, so let's see what you got. He started the program as it spawned 5 fallen angels, which looked at Irina in lust due to how she was dressed. The angel kept focus and shot the light rings at 2 of them and then prepared another 2, but was interrupted by an attack of one of those enemies, causing to stop creating 1 ring from form a defensive magic circle, blocking the attack and shooting the light ring at one who attacked her. She flew gracefully, and rather than rings, she made 2 light spears that shot them at the remaining 2 enemies. Issei was impressed. He thought that she would be rusty because she was acting earlier in that day. She flew down to him and looked at him a bit disappointed. Just because I was sad, it doesn't mean that Grishilda-sama and Gabriel-sama didn't keep me from slacking in training. Let's go again, Irina said. Issei had his jaw dropped. He underestimated her. Honestly, it was a complete 180 from how she was acting hours ago. Either way, he was definitely attracted to her new attitude. He amped the level of enemies and watched her train for the next hour. He watched how she handled herself in aerial combat. He was impressed, but she did not have as much stamina like he did, which is why she only lasted an hour of constant fighting. He set the enemies to what he used to begin his training while she watched. I need to get stronger, Ina said, watching Issei against the high-class enemies. Soon I will be able to battle alongside you, Issei. She continued to watch Issei fight, taking note of how fast he formed his fire and reflexes. She knew that while they were away from each other, she would have to learn more hand-to-hand combat. She knew that she wouldn't be on his level in the next couple of days, but she would enjoy these days, working with him, cooking with him, and just being with him. Alright. Guess that's wraps for today. Time to hit the showers and sleep. You can use the one that's in my room. I'll use the one that was in my parents' room. And no, Irina said, interrupting him. Excuse me, Issei replied. We can share a shower together. I mean, you've already seen me naked before, so it'll be fine. She was trying to sound confident, but she was blushing and nervous. Issei was also blushing and nervous, but he kept his composure. Irina, we don't have to do this if you're not comfortable. Like I said, there are multiple bathrooms in Issei Hyodo. We are sharing a shower, and that's final, Irina said, walking out of the training area. What the hell happened to Irina? Issei said. He was shocked by her boldness. This was really to test your urges. I wish you the best, Drake says. Wait, Drake, don't leave me. Have faith in yourself, but if you feel like it, apply some magic to your fangs and bite her. There are other ways to imprint your mate than just sex. I know you want to be with her, and she wants you. If neither of you are ready, don't force it. Just enjoy the time together and good luck, Drake says. With that, his former partner let him go rest, so Issei followed Irina out of the training room. He realized that she must have gone back to the room, so he went to check and found her was waiting for him. The shower was running. She looked at him and she heard the door open. So we're going to do this, Issei says? Issei, it's nothing sexual. Don't think of it as such. She was keeping her own emotions and thoughts in check and not to fall either. But she did want this, and she slept with him naked before. But that was with the other girls. Now they were alone, so she wanted to take advantage. She wanted to figure her parents may have planned this, as she kept pestering her about seeing him. But she felt that she had already, and is likely the reason why Gabriel and Grishilda left her. She decided to make the most of it, letting him know her love for him through a physical aspect now. She began to strip off her bra and her jean shorts before the bathroom. Issei could have run away, but he was a dragon that was down for a challenge for him, so he knew that Drake would never let him live it down. He decided to strip as well. If he got through this, then he could control his urges. Entering the bathroom, Irina was already in the shower. He stepped in and focused on the non-sexual parts of her body. Would you like me to get your hair? Oh, sure. She seemed lost in thought as she didn't notice him enter the shower. He grabbed the shampoo and applied it to his hand, and then massaged it into her scalp. While he did that, Irina washed front. Issei realized that she was right. It wasn't sexual. Let me get out the conditioner, Issei did. He stepped forward, and doing so, his crotch bumped her butt. That caused Irina to jolt a little. As Issei was working with, while Issei was thinking of something with thoughts first because he couldn't cultivate of her butt bouncing off him felt nice, but he did not want to pop an erection, so he began to think of his battles, the burning of those fallen angels as he clutched the conditioner. Could you stand up straight, Issei said. He stepped back and began to apply the conditioner to her hair. You know, your hair wouldn't get in the way as much if it was in a ponytail. You think so, Irina says? Yeah. It wouldn't get in that way much, but when you're in battle, but then again, you'll always look in whatever style your hair's in. Thank you. Could you get my back, Irina says? The sponge. Sure. He took the sponge and washed her back, then only went as far as her lower back. Could you do my legs as well? She was rinsing out the conditioner, and also Issei about accommodating her hair, and not in that way when she fights. Issei could not believe it, but carried out the task. His body slightly shook as he was close to her skin. His instincts telling him to take her, but he knew the consequences of doing that make her become a fallen angel, and he did not want to do that. He was a bit entranced and scrubbed her lower half, and he kept self-contained. Even as he shook sometimes to watch her butt jiggle a little, but he controlled himself. Thanks, here, let me do you. Moving behind him and stood up, she took the sponge and from him in the process. Issei decided to wash his hair. As he washed his back, he was content, feeling calm, and he felt her hug him from behind. I'm going to miss you, but thank you for waiting for me and spending time with me today. She continued to talk, and while Issei was trying to calm his urges, but feeling her body against his, he could not hold it. I'm sorry for this, Yuri-chan. Turning around in her arms and wrapping his arms around her, kissed her. He couldn't resist. The same with Ravel, and he backed up Irina into the shower while kissing her down her neck. His hands were beginning to roam around her body and then bit her on the left side of her neck, breaking the skin and producing some blood. Irina was fine with the kissing, but when he started to kiss down the neck, she had to control her emotions, and she felt pain as he bit her. She was shocked, wondering why he would hurt her as much as he burnt up, and the mark was left behind that glowed a bit and then became invisible. Then the fire subsided, and she felt a warm as Issei kissed back up to her lips and pulled away. I'm so sorry. He was about to leave, but Irina grabbed him by the wrist. What was that? My body felt like it was burning up when you bit me. I'll explain it outside, Issei said. She nodded as the two stepped out, shower, shutting off the water and drying themselves off. They went back to the bedroom, applying the lotion to keep their skin from drying up. They sat on the bed with the towels wrapped around their body. As Issei didn't know what to say, Drake decided to talk. Well, hello, reincarnated angel. I suppose you are wondering why my partner bit you. Well, to put it lightly, he imprinted on you a part of his magic, and himself with you. He tried to control his urges, but he failed, Drake says. Imprinted on me, looking at Issei with wide eyes. So we're like together now? Yes, Drake says. Then I guess it's only fitting that I should give this to you. Getting up from the bed and looking through her things, pulling out a necklace. The strap was a leather cord and pendant that looked like a rounded rectangle that looked metallic. It seemed plain, but something about the metal pulled Issei to the necklace. It's meant to represent the tamanashi, or soul, of a samurai. If you look on the back of it, I had the brochure of samurai inscribed onto it. Seeing you fight and how you carry yourself on the battlefield, I wanted to give you something that represented you. Not the pervert that people make you out to be, like your mark. This is imbued but with my magic, so while I have a piece of you, you'll have a piece of me. It's a tradition in my family for women to give something to the man that they want to be with. My mom did it with my dad, and I know who I want to be with, and I'm glad that you feel the same, Irina says. Irina, Issei replies. He was stunned by the gift. First Rosvisa and then Ravel, and now Irina. All of them gave him something that he gave nothing in return. He knew before he left he needed to give them something to remember him by. Thank you. You're welcome, Irina said as she finished applying the lotion to her skin. Issei followed her example and used some unscented lotion. He was about to go to get some sleepwear, but Irina decided to surprise him once again. Well, I guess we can go to bed, Irina says, dropping her towel and getting under the covers. Issei was once again impressed by her boldness. Seeing as he wasn't moving, she spoke again. Issei-kun, you've already felt me up naked. I've already slept with you naked before, so relax. Hearing her words calmed him, so he went to turn off the lights, dropped his towel, and got into bed with her. As she expected, she cuddled up to him and told him good night. Issei kissed her on the forehead and told her good night as well. He remembered something from his night with Rosvisa as he bit her as well. Drake, did I imprint one on Rosvisa that night? The dragon let out a sigh. He kind of hoped that Issei would forget that night, but he answered truthfully. No, you didn't. You only swooped on her neck and her breast, Drake says. I see. Well, sorry for failing and not controlling my urges. You didn't fail me. Partner, have a good night, Drake says, cutting off the communication. Hey, Irina, nudging her a little. Caught in a moan in displeasure. Yes, Irina says, thank you for loving me. He felt her shift on him. Go to sleep, darling. Closing her eyes and falling asleep with a smile on her face. Darling, huh? I like that, Issei says, wrapping his arm around her and falling asleep. And he was going to enjoy these final days before the last end of flashback, present day. Those days were fun, just hanging out with Irina, cooking meals, watching movies, training together, and having fun. Issei then felt his arms wrap around his neck. Huh, thinking about then again, my dear? Yeah. What are you going to do, Minerva? Looking at the black-haired beauty that was behind him, Issei was. You know, I can't sleep without you by my side, my dear, and I looked over. You seem lost in thought. She is not here, Minerva says. This is Minerva from Fairy Tale, by the way. Oh, sorry, I didn't notice. And she's probably downstairs making breakfast, Issei said. It's fine. Going back to you, you kept in contact like you promised. They are happy for you that you found me, and her and I already approved of a harem if she's an indication. Even though I am not the first woman that you imprinted on, I am the first to claim your seed. As mischievous and Slurry smile formed from her face. Yeah, I have a feeling that I will see them again, not paying attention to her advances as his mind was elsewhere. With these monsters popping up, it wouldn't surprise me if you ran into members of the faction. Dropping her sultry tone, Minerva said, I have a feeling that my past will come back for me, Issei replied. It was only a matter of time, dear, Minerva said, giving him a kiss on the cheek. Yeah, as he looked back out the window and reminisced about his departure from Ko. And that is the end of chapter 6. And my god, that was a whole entire hour of a chapter. That's where we're going to stop for now. Remember, before you guys leave, try to hit the like button. Let's try to hit 300 to 400 likes once again. That'd be absolutely amazing. And I cannot thank you enough for all my channel members. Like, seriously, you guys don't understand how much you're helping out since I'm broke. So, thanks, man. Thanks to all my Juggernaut Drive members, my Balance Breakers, and my Patreon members as well. I cannot thank you guys enough. Remember, there is exclusive content up on Patreon right now if you would like to join. And you only have to join for $2.99 to become a limit breaker to know my uploads if you don't want to use Balance Breaker or Juggernaut Drive. Thank you so much for the support, ladies and gentlemen. And without further ado, Spartanic Arts DXD out.